Hey Eric, how's it going? I apologize for the fan in the background, but we've got a little bit of a technical issue. Well, it's not so much of a technical issue as that I just have to go by the hardware store tomorrow. The joint that I need for my pipe to hook up my air conditioner does not fit. So I need to get one, go take it back and get one a little slightly smaller. So today is the big day with Slightly Serious. Just waiting for him to get on. I know I tried to be on here a little bit earlier, but animals come first. I hit up to 33 degrees in my apartment alone, and the air conditioner could not work because I could not find the connecting joint to it, which means that it is hotter in my apartment than it is outside. So if outside is 33, you can imagine how hot it got it here. And so if it gets too hot, spiders die, and my cats go into seizures. So yeah, we did some emergency work, or at least I did. I tried to do some ice baths in front of fans. Got the temperature lowered down to about 29 degrees, which is a big, huge plus. And now the temperatures are starting to drop just a little bit. And tomorrow is supposed to be even hotter. So I've been running around with like a chicken with my head cut off and trying to get everybody water, and now I'm sitting in a muggy, humid room. So I apologize for the. Oh, wow. Apparently, Podbean has done something unique and interesting, and now 7 people can call in at once, not just 4. Holy crap. What about music? Did they change the music? Thank you for keep sharing the show. I appreciate it. They do have nothing new. Oh my god, the music still sucks, and the sound effects are just the same.
Uh-oh.
So, anyways, how are you? How was your day today? It was kind of a busy day for me, so I hope today went well for you. I have a bit of a sore throat. Been around some sick people today. Some sick-minded people, that is. Oh my goodness. And my brother's just doing what he's doing. He's going to be home about midnight tonight. So we're all good here. Been an interesting day. How so? Call in until he gets here. Until the guest shows up, you're more than welcome to call in and tell us how your day's going. Nothing. Are you shy? When is Eric shy to call in? I bet you don't have your headphones with you, or something along those lines. Ah, there you are. Hello, sweetie.
I'm doing good today. I'm just still busy, trying to get as many friends to come and visit. Yeah,
That's
including like a
excellent.
mod and Roxanne and
That's excellent. So guess what got sent out today?
uh-huh.
Your package got put on the mail today. But they was told it'll take between 9 to 14 days, 9 to 14 business days to get to where you're at.
Give or take, of course. Right.
Yep. Yeah, but it went out today. So I was like, yeah. The hardware store, Korata, is right next to Coop, which Coop has DHL right inside and plus Nord. But I wasn't going to go DHL because it was so much more expensive. I was like, holy crap. I was actually kind of like, ouch, Pocketbook. Pocketbook is on fire. So I went Post Nord, and Post Nord said, yeah, we'll send it. So 9 to 14 business days. I'm excited, though. I'm excited. I can't wait for you to get your show or get your candy because I can't wait to see what your thoughts are. My niece threw some stuff. My nieces even threw additional snacks in there. That package was not cheap. But yeah, I was like, I looked at them, went, really? Really?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yep. So I was excited. I can't tell you what the extra stuff is, just because. That's a secret, just for you.
Right.
He said, just like my brother when he's busy and I'm talking to him, he's like, right, and sure. Are you listening?
I'm here.
So yeah. So you'll do it? Sure.
Right.
He did that to me once, and I yelled out. I was like, "Look, everybody! He's gonna stick needles in his eyes." He looked at me like I lost my mind. He's like, "What?" I was like, "Well, I did ask you if you were gonna stick needles in your eyes." He went, "Sure." But I just hopped on just because I've been running late. I was trying to get everybody watered. Water comes first. Animals come first. As much as I really love you guys, those guys really depend on me for survival. And since I got back from the hardware store at such a late time, it's just like, oh, crap. It's like one thing after another. Constant. Mr. Kohili, welcome to the Talking Corner. I'm Crash, your host. I think you've been to their show before. If you haven't, we have Eric online with us, sharing the show for us, doing an excellent job. Eric, you should change your name to Podbean's Angel. You really should.
Yeah, that would probably work.
Eric knows me. Everybody knows you. You're like Norman of Cheers. Everybody knows you.
Right.
I love that show. I love that show. That and MASH. MASH was an awesome show. And Effin Gruton, welcome to the Talking Corner. I am Crash, your host. Welcome to the show. We're waiting for Slightly Serious to show up so we can start the interview. We did jump on a little bit early today, just simply because Slightly Serious could not make it. He has an appointment, so we're just kind of working around his schedule a bit today. And if anybody lives in the U.S. and they want a free tarantula, feel free to
Mr. Colley, he lives in India. Oh, Zalden is here. Welcome.
Yay! More people are showing up. And
we're waiting for 2K from the Raw Report to join in. Hopefully Dina Joe and the old man and DeVito show up.
Oh, you know what I keep forgetting? Eric, remind me to post their show from last Friday.
Oh, yes.
I keep forgetting about that.
Publish the old man show, yes.
Yes, because I keep forgetting to do that, and I can't back out of this to get into. Basically, it will not let me to open up another tab on the computer to upload it, because it'll say that I'm trying to sign in from 2 different points.
But I guess when the show's over, I'll be sure to DM you to remind you to publish the old man podcast show. I don't know if you already published the John DeVito one.
Yes, I did. I did that one already. I did that one a few days after, but then I realized the upload quality wasn't the greatest. So I did a little bit of editing with the old man, and I just keep forgetting to upload it. So I'm just like, So everybody with us, welcome to the Talking Corner. I am Crash, your host. We are waiting for Slightly Serious from the Slightly Serious Show. And we have Eric on the line with us, sharing the show like like the angel that he is, and I mean that in the greatest way possible. And you, sir, definitely have lots of candy coming. I'm just gonna. I hope if you turn into a diabetic just looking at this package, you have to let me know. Horned Moon, welcome to the Talking Corner. I'm Crash, your host. We have Eric with us. Goodbye. And again, anybody from the States, I'm giving away a free tarantula. It is bought and paid for. They have taken it out of its file, recanted the label, because it's hot where they're at as well in Virginia. So they don't want the animal to suffer in any way, shape, or form. No, thank
that is
you.
True.
No, thank you. Why? Why no thank you to? It's a tarantula. I don't like spiders. Spiders are cute. This one has an afro. You cannot say with a straight face you do not like a spider with an afro. It's so fuzzy. It looks like a little ball. You know those the dust bunnies you find in the corner? It looks like one of those with 8 legs. It just kind of walks along, doing its own thing. I love it. I love it to death. But right now I'm just more worried about my tiny ones, because the heat. The heat will kill slings really easy. The bigger, older ones have a higher chance, because then they can push fluid around. But the little ones get hot really, really easy. And so I'm so mad that I could not get the air conditioner hooked up. And it's not just for them; it's also for the cats. Because I know, if you got to coat a fur in this kind of heat, it's not fun.
Right.
So right now, if you hear a lot of fans going on, I have 2 extra fans than normal, trying to push a lot of air. Tick Power, welcome to the Talking Quarter. I am Cracks, your host. We have Eric.
I'm gonna see if I can get Nida in here too.
Yes, please. I love Nida. Nida's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Can you hold down the fort really quick? I'm gonna go grab
Sure.
my drink. I left my drink in the living room with the cats, and I'm afraid what will happen.
And we are welcoming you this Friday to the Talking Corner podcast with Craigs. I am her good friend Eric. You see me around on the Slightly Serious show and on the Chit Chat with the Old Man show and the John DeVito show as well, and a host of other good podcasts on here. Of course, this week's guest, of course, is Slightly from the Slightly Serious show, and we're looking to fill the live cast.
Eric, I just want to give you a round of applause. Thank you for that. I know I got you on the fly, though. You could hear it. Usually you're prepared, but so I'm sorry. Everybody who's just joined us. Oh, Slightly Serious is even here now. So if you'd like.
Oh, finally, yes.
Yeah, no, he's finally here. So if you want, thank you so very much for the help. If you want to hop off, so you can hop on or stay on the line. I don't mind. You guys could stay, because you're pretty much part of the show anyway, so you can stay.
Yes. However y'all want to do it.
Yeah, stay on. I don't think you mind. Slightly, I don't think you mind, do you? Here he's calling in.
Right.
There he is. Hey.
Here I am. How is it going, Cracks?
1 second. Technical difficulty. I've got electric cords and a lot of water. Take over for a second.
Electrical cords are not a good thing. How's it going, Eric?
I'm doing good today. Been kind of an interesting day to say the least. I slept
I know
about.
we were up till the crack of dawn.
Yeah, I was up till almost like 5 in the morning, but I slept until about like 9:30, which but I'm used to being kind of up and down.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And look who it is. Looks like 2K and Zalden are here.
Yeah,
it's good to see both of them. It's rare that we get to see 2K around because he's always working so much.
Right.
Very honored to be a part of the Talking Corner today with Cracks. It was very sweet of her to invite us onto her show. And,
right.
Looking forward to the interview with her. And hopefully she's being able to manage all of these electrical cords that apparently are giving her a pain in the ass.
No, what it is my whole glass of water just totally spilled into my my electrical sockets that I have for my spiders. So give me a second.
Ooh, wow.
And Eric, I was thinking about it. I think the perfect place for Cracks is tarantula. She's trying to give away a tarantula, and I was thinking the perfect person to give it to would be 2K, because he gets very lonely at night.
I guess Cracks and 2K would have to talk that one over.
Yeah, I think you would enjoy it, 2K. It's very hairy. It would kind of go along with your fake mustache or your fake beard that you got going on. 2K said, "Why am I always coming out of your mouth?" I am actually not driving, Zalden. I am being driven right now. Actually, I was driving, but I had the. You're being chauffeured. Yeah, I'm being chauffeured, as I'm told by my better half.
Right.
Hopefully, it's not too much of a distraction to the live cast.
Of course not.
Yeah, I can't stand you sometimes. Yeah, I feel that way about you as well, 2K. But I'm very excited for those of you that had joined us early this morning. to try out the video live cast, as we're trying to get things going simultaneously. So thanks for your patience on that. Um, the juicer kind of gave us an insight to an issue that we need to resolve. So Slightly's working on that. And when Cracks comes, I'm very interested to see what she enjoys talking about on her show.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully she has not electrocuted herself with the water going into her electrical outlets.
I
No,
know,
not
right?
yet. I ripped everything out of the walls. So give me a second. I have to kind of get everything back up and running. Just give me a moment. I just literally got my drink. You can ask Eric.
Yes.
Oh.
Right.
So we have Cracks tearing down all her walls because she spilled the water into all the electrical outlets. That's not good. But hopefully she's safe.
Hopefully she is.
Try the sparkling water if you have a chance, Cracks. That's some good stuff there. I've been drinking carbonated mineral water lately.
Mm-hmm.
What sounded so wrong there, 2K? But anyways, I'm not sure exactly how things are lining up as far as the Podathon in remembrance of PodGod today. I'm not sure. I'm hoping you're keeping track for us, Eric, as far as if we need.
I'm thinking Sinister Breed will go live at 6 p.m. Eastern, followed by Yana at 7 p.m. Eastern and Ace at 8 p.m. Eastern. If I understood that correctly.
Oh, gotcha. And hopefully we'll be free and clear by 6:30 to do our show, because I don't want to infringe on anybody.
Right. Yeah, we should.
But for those of you that are tuning into the Talking Corner, we do our show Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. Sometimes, we don't like to get too serious, but we do once in a while. But more importantly, it's a great place to come express yourself, have a little fun with some of the shenanigans that we got going on. And, it's always a good time. And once in a while on the weekends, we kind of do impromptu shows. And
Right.
we're, Eric and I are working on some new platforms, some simultaneous type live casts that will include video. So we're excited to continue working on that. I'm located here in Southern California, and our good friend Eric joins us as our co-host. So out in Georgia, he's our Georgia Peach, as we call him.
Yes.
And, he's also the VP of Podbean Marketing. If for those of you that didn't know, he's the, I guess we should say honorary, because we haven't got Podbean to pay you for all the hard work that you do yet.
Right.
So.
Oh, Nida's here. Welcome.
Hey, Nida. Good to see you. Rise and shine.
Okay.
Good to see you. Cracks is back.
The disaster has been averted. I haven't blown anything yet. 2K is calling up. Just gonna connect real quick.
Hey, how are you guys?
Pretty good.
That's good. Glad to hear.
So,
Yes.
shall we get started with the interview? Oh, well, first ask how let's see how 2K is doing.
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Long time no see. Are you stalking me now?
To literally know.
She
Zeldin,
said, "Duh."
Zeldin, I'm gonna have to stop you right there. That we're about to start our interview, so sorry. So Slightly, you did tell us briefly about what you do on your show. What kind of target audience are you going for? How long have you been doing this? Any pointers you would like to give any of the new podcasters out there? Because I get a lot of them coming into my show. So
yeah, well,
you can start with that.
We started doing the live casts or podcasts just in general a little over about a month and a half ago. And it's the first time I've ever done any podcasting or live casting. There's obviously a lot of fears, not knowing what the hell you're doing. In addition to that, having to listen to yourself, through headphones, it's kind of nerve-wracking for most people, very intimidating for some. but we slowly but surely got over that. But the show, sometimes we get a little bit political. We like to bring up topics to debate. I don't necessarily have a target audience. To be honest with you, my target audience is anybody that's willing to express their opinions without without feeling that they're going to be attacked. The biggest issue that I see in society is people want to express their opinions, but oftentimes people take their opinions personally and get attacked right away. I don't allow that to happen on our show. I always embrace opposite opinions of mine, and I encourage opposite opinions of myself because it makes for a more entertaining show, number one. Number two, it also presents two different sides of things, and it creates an effective dialogue. And right now, especially with all the events that are occurring in our society, effective dialogue is what's needed, not people going out looting, setting buildings on fire, and all those types of shenanigans. And at the same time, we also try to mix things up. We try to make it entertaining. We try to, last week we did a spin on a game called Cards Against Humanity. We kind of termed it slightly against humanity. And we had a good time with that. So we also include some fun stuff and all that kind of stuff. And 1 second, there's like a car going the opposite side of us here. Okay.
Fucking A, man.
Anyway, sorry about that, Rex.
Literally
Oh,
on.
you're fine.
And so we do it Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. We usually go on for about an hour and a half. Generally, I'm joined by my good friend Eric, who's co-host on the show. He's the one that he minds all my P's and Q's and keeps tabs on everything. And very gracious to have him on nightly with us. And, sometimes we get bombarded with people like 2K who spice up the show even more. But it's fun. Throughout the day, as I'm at work at my business, it's always on my mind to come on and get on and talk and conversate with everybody out there. It's a great platform. One of the best Podbean is one of the best podcasting platforms that I've seen, and I've done a lot of research.
Wait, give me a second. I got a phone call coming in. I'm trying to. I gotta put. I thought I put it on silent, and I was listening so intently, and I nearly pissed myself. I fucking put you on mute. What the hell? There you go. Can't call me now. I know what. It's my brother. It's if you guys don't know, my brother has recently moved in, and he knows I'm doing interviews, and I do this in the evening. So if I hang up on him and he calls immediately right back, if it's an emergency, he can call one of my other siblings. So he's just being a turd, I bet.
I'm going to go ahead and hop off here. I'm going to go on Zoom and talk to a few other people. I appreciate y'all for having me. I hope you all have a wonderful evening.
You have a good evening,
Really, there's a lot.
2K.
We'll see you around 2K.
Good to see you, 2K. You have a good rest of your day, brother. But Podbean is one of the greatest platforms I've seen. They continue to take suggestions from different shows and different hosts. I hope it continues to build. We're doing our best to continue to build the platform. One of the reasons that I am aspiring to try to do some type of simulcasting as far as video live casts is to try to gain traction on other platforms and steer them over onto the Podbean platform. I'm also looking into trying to do the video live cast. I don't know if Podbean allows video live casting or if it's just a pre-recorded video podcast. So, but definitely trying to get more listeners here.
Yeah, definitely. But I was to answer your question. It's just pre-recorded.
Oh, okay. So it is just pre-recorded stuff. Okay.
Yeah. which is, the only you can do live from what we're doing here. I can upload it live if I wanted to right after the show. So any live shows actually get recorded on theirs, but those shows only last for 30 days, unless of course you pay.
Gotcha. Okay. Very good. Good to know. So yeah, I mean, there's on Podbean, there's different services that they offer. They have a free streaming service that gives you a certain allotment of time that you can do your live casts. And
Yep.
the one that I'm on, I think I pay, what is it, $14 a month?
Oh, you're doing the same one I'm doing.
Yes. Now there's a $29 one which features the video, and that's where I was kind of curious if it would be worth it if
Oh.
it's live video. I don't know if it's live video or not, or if it's pre-recorded only.
Have you tried to get a hold of their customer service? Because I have to give it to their customer service, even though their services can be a bit sketchy. Some of the things that they really need to work on, because they've been around a really long time, and one of the things is just blind banning without vetting the complaint.
Yeah, the customer service could use a bit of improvement. The response on things has been pretty good so far. I did send an email in this morning to them, requesting more information surrounding their video podcasts. So hopefully we'll hear back here in the next 24 hours or so. So, but it's been a great time. I haven't had very many issues on the platform. Obviously, there's trolls here and there once in a while. Sometimes they spice things up. Sometimes they just piss you off.
Spicing is such a cute word. I love it.
It helps the engagement score out.
Exactly.
Yeah, it does help the engagement scores. That's true.
Now, can I ask how many followers you have now?
I want to say around 160 to 170.
Oh wow! Are you doing anything for your 500 mark?
We haven't done anything as far as marketing goes. I don't know. We'll have to come up with something like that. That would be cool.
Why don't you come join me? Soon, I'm almost at 460. I think I'm at 458 or 457. And at 500, I'm going to be eating the world's hottest hot sauce.
Oh my God!
I'm going
Wow.
to take a bite for every time somebody comes on.
Oh, see, now that would be perfect for a video live cast.
You think?
Yes, that would be perfect.
So
Yeah.
everybody gets to hear me suffer. I'm trying to get other podcasters to come do it with me. It's like a big party.
Oh.
And so bring your hot stuff. You don't have to bring as hot as me. I'm doing it, for my own purposes. But it would be really fun to have others. Like I know Ralph is going to. He's going to bring what he loves. He's going to bring it. So Ralph and I've got a collab. You're more than welcome to come join. Nida, hello, sweetie. Hello, Sober Mike. It's good to see you. I love the fuzzy. Every time I see
And
Sober
the
Mike,
Two
I just love the
Dumbasses podcast, welcome.
fuzzy. Hey, two dumbasses.
Well, I'll make a deal with you. It won't be as spicy as yours, but I will join in the celebrity show.
Yay!
And bring my own hot sauce. And we'll do shots of hot sauce.
It's not shots because I can't do shots of this. This is more like dabbles on chips. You take a bite and then you cry. And in my case, it'll be dying. I'll be dying online.
Okay, you can do dabs, and I'll do shots because mine won't be as hot as yours.
That's okay. That's good. Because mine is at. Hold on, I have the Scovo here. It's at 1.4700 million Scoville scale.
Yeah, I'll
I
pass
love
on
the
that.
awkward silence.
Yeah, that's too hot.
It's
One of the questions I have for you: how long have you been doing your live casts, or
since
podcasts in general?
I started podcasting the beginning of March, and probably about 2 weeks into it is when I started doing line casting. And I just started to learn how to use the editing tools for in Shotcut.
Okay.
So soon I will start adding music because I went. Here's the thing: I did not realize about the soundboard because that's how illiterate I am. You have the Old Man podcast. They've been doing it for quite some time, so he's got his setup. You got Ralph who's got his setup. At the Podgat had his setup. We have Asha who has his setup, and it's like I'm sitting here going, okay, I just have a USB plug in a mic.
No, well, it sounds great. So you almost have 500 followers within a matter of a couple months. So you're doing something right, Cracks.
Well, thank you.
That's really awesome.
Well, the whole dream is to get a mix board or a soundboard. So Wednesdays, when we have Comfy Pets Wednesdays, it will be more like an interactive radio. But I need a board for that, and that's something I do not have. So I'm looking into other options since I just got laid off. So spending money on a board at this point, unless I can get some GoFundMe money raised, there's no way I'm going to get a board. So like I said, animals and food come first.
Yes.
Then all the extras. So once I get the financial situation taken care of, which will be about a year and a half because I'm working to get back into school.
Very good.
Then I can get a board and we can do interactive radio. But until then, it will be just pre-recordings because the gentleman that helped me give me pointers about quality, what kind of shows, how long to put those shows on for, he's a quality broadcaster here in Sweden for one of the radio stations. I don't want to give out too much information because he told me not to.
His name is not Miltog, is it?
No. No. But here, if you have somebody's full name here, you can actually look to see where they live, what their car is, what their phone number. So you can see where he's kind of like, please just leave it as big as possible. With his kind of work, and with his kind of work, I want to respect that as much as possible. So, anyways, he's the one that sent me to Shotcut. So.
The soundboard that I use is probably overkill for a lot of people just getting into podcasting and or live casting, but it's called the Rodecaster Pro, or it's called the Rode Procaster, and basically it's a soundboard. It has buttons that you can pre-program different sounds or sound bites or whatever that you'd like to use. It's got access to where you could hook up to 4 microphones to it. In addition, my favorite feature that I have yet to try out is if I wanted to do a podcast on the go somewhere, even if I was traveling, I have the ability to set it up and utilize my cell phone to take a phone call to do an interview if I'd like. And via Bluetooth, I could take a phone call and do a live cast, not a live cast, but I can bring in the audio from my phone. So,
that sounds nice and fancy.
Yeah, it's a bit expensive. I do want to preface it that, and that's why for a lot of people that might be thinking about getting into podcasting, there are a lot better, not a lot better, but there's a lot more affordable options out there that will give you just the same great quality that you can get from that. Obviously, people that are just getting into it, people are not going to want to spend an arm and a leg to try things out, but there's definitely a lot of great affordable equipment out there to get you started as well.
Now, would you like to tell the audience some of the equipment that you use other than your soundboard, or do you want to keep the trade secrets to yourself?
No, I don't mind sharing at all. So generally, when I go live on Podbean, I'm utilizing my an iMac. And my Procaster is hooked into the iMac via USB. And then I also have what's called an Elgato Stream Deck. And when I utilize that more for all of my the laughs, the claps, and stuff like that. I don't utilize the Podbean interface for the sound effects. And basically, what the Elgato Stream Deck is the version that I have. You have, I believe, up to 12 different buttons that you can pre-program with sound effects, with anything pre-recorded, and I basically get all that content from my computer over into the Stream Deck and program it. And whenever I push a button, it'll go ahead and play that sound bite or that sound effect. And then as far as microphones go, I'm utilizing the Rode Pod mic, and I think those on Amazon are going for, I'd say, around $99. But that's pretty much what I utilize. I did do a remote live cast last weekend up in Big Bear, California. I did not have any of my equipment with me, and I actually was able to do a pretty decent live cast through my cell phone. And how I did that was I own a pair of Bose wireless headset that basically attached to my phone via Bluetooth, and we did the show that way. And so, I mean, and from what Eric and everybody else was telling me, it sounded all right.
Oh, nice.
It came in clear. Yes.
So, and that's what I'm talking about as far as, for people out there that, have that interest, that might want to get involved with Podbean and start their own show. It doesn't take a lot of money or a lot of equipment to get started. I mean, you can use your phone and a pair of Bluetooth headphones, as long as there's audio that can go into it, for a reasonable amount of money, and get your voice out there. Provide people a platform that can create some creative dialogue for the society. Get people talking. Let's not continue to bash each other over disagreements. Let's have effective dialogue, and at the same time have a great time, and then have some entertainment as well. And that's pretty much what our show is all about.
Now, can I ask about some of the discussions that you've had on your show?
Of course. We've talked, recently we've talked about, oh gosh, what's the first thing? Obviously, we've talked about the police brutality and stuff like that. The big thing that I try to speak out about is basically how society, and not all of society, but there's quite a few people in society that, are portraying all law enforcement as evil, racist people, to where there is a big misconception on that. You cannot classify a group of people over the stupid choices an individual or two may make. You have racists in every industry. It's not just law enforcement. There's racist. There's, I call them, and forgive my language. Is this a explicit show or not?
Yes, it is. It's explicit. I knew you were coming. So let's put it this way. I had a user on here that dropped the F-bomb a lot. So it's like, yep. Ever since then,
Yes.
I try to make every show explicit when it comes to interviews. So you're free to say whatever you need or want. Oh, coffee and cream. Hello.
So I like to say that, in every industry, there's going to be racist people. There's going to be douchebags that just are fucking pieces of shit that do not know how to treat other people with respect and dignity. It's not just law enforcement, so you cannot categorize a group of people by the inappropriate actions of a few. And that's how the law enforcement personnel are being treated right now. So that's been a major topic of mine, in that it's not a law enforcement issue. It's all about people just treating other people with respect. Even a criminal that does something against the law, that person, yes, they broke the law, but they still deserve respect and dignity. And
I have to agree with you with that.
you do have officers that mistreat people. And the other topic I've brought up that may or may not be unpopular is just because and the George Floyd incident is a key focus on this comment, is just because the gentleman was black, we automatically make it a race issue. Now, there's facts out there that tell us that the police officer who basically murdered, I'm going to use the,
But yeah, no, he did. He murdered him
He
through
murdered
neglect. Through neglect, but it was definitely murder.
So the police officer that murdered George Floyd, those two used to work together at a nightclub. So don't come at society automatically putting it in the racist category. There might be other things. And like I said, I'm not downplaying that there's not racism across our country, because there still is racism in our country. But anytime an incident occurs, can we please not automatically categorize it as, oh, well, that's because he's racist? I have an issue with that. Why can't it, it could just well be, in fact, that the guy's just a douchebag and not treating another individual human with respect or dignity. But, in my opinion,
You're
news
growing
media
soft, dear.
outlets, the news media outlets
Pretty hard.
and other public people want to make a story. So the best way to do that is to promote it as it being a racist act, so it garners more attention.
No, I have to agree with you on just. Well, I have to agree with you with everything on that. I'm not there in the States, so I really don't have much to say. But I just I get I want to say I got bit for asking a question, and then I wanted to I stated that because here's what we were taught. The American slavery, of course, was it didn't to free slaves didn't start out to free slaves. It actually started out with a tax, a federal income tax that Lincoln had put in because he won the election. The southern states didn't want to do that, and what it was a tax on what the income of what the slaves were bringing in. Okay, then it became free the slaves after that, because the North wasn't getting any money. It wasn't just the North; it was the government in general. The government wasn't getting any money, but that's what I was told. So when I ask, "Is that true?" or when I want to discuss that, I get called everything short of a racist. Even after I said, "Look, I don't believe in tearing down history. I don't believe tearing down your statues is a correct thing. We in Sweden do not do that. What we do in Sweden is we put them in museums. It's as simple as that."
Yeah, and we touched about the whole statue thing the other night on our show, and it was a great discussion. We had both sides of it, and I think what we all came up with, like if the decision was left up to us, was okay. Well, if there's a problem with statues, we still need to conserve what the history of this country was all about. So if you're going to take the statues down, then the least you can do is let them be in museums, because the history is still what's important as far as how this country was formed and how it was built, and the contributions of the people that have made this country what it is today. And obviously everybody brings up, well, yeah, they contributed to this, but they were racist. Well, no human being is perfect. And that's something that a lot of people seem to forget. Just because there's imperfections in someone doesn't mean that we should not celebrate the positive things that they contribute to society.
Yep. No, I like I said, I 100% agree with that. Look at several of our kings. Look at several of our leaders. Hell, we had Vikings. Do you know what they did to traitors? They invented the bloody eagle. Do you know what that means? That means while you are still alive, they cut down the middle of your spine and split your skin right off your rib cage. like an eagle's wings. And then they hang you to let you die. And every time you pass out from shock, they wake you up.
That's crazy. Wow.
So, yeah, no. Do you think we want to celebrate our kings when they did stuff like that or celebrate our leaders? No. We put them in museums.
Right. Yeah.
How about the slavery that the Vikings did? We enslaved many people. But it was, we didn't care what the color was. They worked for us. If we wanted to take a wife or a husband from a slave, of course, if we had a wife or a husband from, already, we would have to ask them for permission. But then we could marry them. It didn't matter. But
And
yeah,
Coffee and Cream.
go ahead.
Coffee and
Go
Cream
ahead.
had made a comment in the chat based on what he heard. The cop has a history of his targets being of a particular racial background, so I'm assuming this is the reason why the headlines were worded in that manner. And I'm not saying that this case, the George Floyd case is a perfect example, Coffee, but I'm just saying, just in general, it's utilized anytime it's possible that they feel, they being the media, think that it's going to get them ratings. You need to understand that mainstream media is not about reporting the news anymore. It's about ratings. It's about people viewing. It's all about the mighty dollar. It does not have
Mhm.
to do with making you being informed of what's going on in society. Okay, I'm done with my rant.
It's okay. It's okay. No,
But
But I was going to say, just like your platform, my platform is open to those. But but when there are, there's tact. I want my people, my listeners, to use tact. If that's a good word to use. Basically, have respect for everybody around you. If you cannot have respect, no matter what side of the line you are, or if you have drawn a line, because I know many people who haven't, they're just like, I like your ideas, but I also like your ideas.
Mhm.
Just be respectful. If you start using derogatory terms or slangs or start attacking somebody just because they have a different belief system or a different belief. For example,
Right.
I get along with a few Muslims here. Do you think all Muslims like Jews here in Sweden? No. I'm just going to tell you that no. But like I said, my mother's a Jew. I was raised to be a Jew, but my father was also Catholic, which is weird because a religious Swede is almost as hard as finding the biggest diamond ever. It is possible, but it's very rare. If I can sit down and have I was gonna say, if I can sit down and have a conversation with them face to face, why can't I have a conversation here on Podbean or on other places? And here a lot of our dialogues open up well, and they usually end well. Sometimes some people get hurt, and that's when they need their buddy to go, dude, you're taking this out of hand. She's not raising her voice. Sit yourself down. If you can't sit down, get up. I'll sit there, kind of thing. And that's kind of what I guess I'm missing from Podbean. It's there's a lot of people who don't do that. So I applaud you for having your platform geared towards that, and because there's other platforms. No, granted, they're great platforms, but they don't want to talk about what I would consider a landmine topic.
Yeah, and
they just want to skip it all together.
Well, it's
Go ahead.
Race,
You're
religion,
breaking up.
politics is scary for a lot of people. And the main thing is a lot of speaking on racism, religion. That's a slippery slope for some. It's as they say, never bring race or religion or anything like that to the dinner table during family gatherings. But the thing is if we don't talk about it, we're going to continue to see the shenanigans that are being done across this country without effective dialogue. And I don't have a problem if people disagree with me. That's okay. I respect that. If we all had the same ideas, if we all thought the same way, life would be boring as fuck. But there's a way to go about it without attacking other people. I've encountered other shows that I've heard on this platform You have listeners that might call in, and the dangerous part of what I've heard and the disturbing part is, automatically listeners start to chime in. Oh, he's a child molester or this or that. I mean, stuff like that's, get the hell out of my show.
Yep.
What
If you could
how is that going to make things better?
Yeah, no, I have to completely and 100% concur. But I'm from an older generation, which is really weird because I just turned 40 in March. Well, actually, February 29th. And now I'm really like, man, I'm old. Yeah, I think it's because, well, for one, my mom was very violent raising us. She didn't hold back. I'll say that much. If you started up even in public, she would make a public announcement that you were acting up, and this is where we're going to go. We're going to go home, and she's going to take care of it right now.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so,
here's
yeah.
the funny thing. I mean, I would what you would say maybe old school as well. I'm 43 myself. I am not a politically correct kind of guy, if you can get what I mean. I'll call a coffee bean a coffee bean. I say it how it is, how I feel. I am respectful, however, when I am saying things. And people have called me a racist because the way I think on certain issues. And the only thing I come back with to them is, well, if you think I'm racist, then okay, I guess I'm racist. But I'm racist against every single human being.
See, that's my brother's go-to line.
Yeah.
You want to hear something funny? This is pretty cute. Here in Sweden, we don't. It's interesting because nobody here thinks of the slaves, the people that came from slavery that needed reparations. They were like, yeah, but you guys treated them well. No, we didn't treat them quite that great. But we did take care of them. And
the thing is on reparations, that happened how many centuries ago or decades ago, and now it's a problem that I have to deal with for what the acts of people that were around when I wasn't alive did to people of your race or
my question is,
back in the day.
My question is, what about the immigrants, the Irish and the Jewish immigrants and the Italian immigrants that came up in the 20s? Do they have to pay reparation as well?
Right. Yeah. And the whole thing is where does it end? That's my question. Because the way I look at society now, here in the United States at least, I've always been preaching everybody, everyone thinks that slavery ended with, back in the day with the blacks. I'm sorry, but the way I view it, slavery never ended.
Oh,
It
no.
It has been expanded to everybody.
It just went to a different
It's
rate.
now just all of us because we're all slaves to our government by paying tax dollars so they can spend on whatever the hell they want.
Oh, there's that. But have you been to the Middle East? Have you seen the countries that go out of their way to violate human rights?
I've only heard stories. I haven't been there.
Okay. I of course have neighbors with people that come from those areas, and I will tell you, they don't want to talk about it. They really won't. They'll be as quiet as a mouse. If you well, I understand you came here because you claimed asylum. Do you care to elaborate? No, we're just thankful to be here.
Yeah. Well, immigration is another hot topic of mine.
Is there any topic with you that's not hot?
No,
Wait a minute, that didn't come out right. That didn't come out right. Let me rephrase
Make
that.
some hot topics. But immigration is. I live here on the southern border, southwestern border of the United States. We're right next to Tijuana, Mexico. Illegal immigration is it's outrageous. But the big thing about my perspective on things is if we're going to have laws, then enforce the damn law. If it's whether it be illegal immigration or whether it be mandates for social distancing. I'll give you an example of perspective, cracks. About 2 months ago, when COVID-19 occurred, there became a thing to where all businesses need to be shut down because we can't have people gathering and all that, except
Which
for
I think was the silliest thing that your government could have ever done. I'll get onto that a little bit later.
And so, there was exceptions for certain industries because they were considered essential. Here in California, they deemed marijuana being one of those industries. I own a couple vape shops, and I was ticketed because I refused to obey the governor's order to close. Okay, so I took it. Okay. That's your law. Fine, I'll take the ticket. But fast forward 2 to 3 weeks later, where social distancing is still in effect. You're not supposed to be within 6 feet of people, and you need to have masks and stuff like this. And George Floyd incident occurs. Well, now we have thousands of people on the streets gathering, looting and rioting, burning buildings down. Where's the fucking law being enforced there? So it seems to me that nowadays criminals are now the people that can get away with whatever. It's the citizens that are trying to obey the laws that are getting punished. Just like, how is it that illegal immigration continues to occur? How is it that illegal immigrants that are in this country are receiving they're receiving stimulus checks during COVID-19, our taxpayer dollars over to them, when they're considered to be here unlawfully? And again, I go back to criminals being rewarded. If you're going to have laws, enforce the laws. Otherwise, don't have the damn law.
I'm going to accept the call because we are now coming up on an hour show, and usually for the half hour we take in calls and they get to talk to you.
All right.
Hello, Quincy.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hello,
Hi,
hello.
Quincy. How you doing?
My name is Quincy. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, so today I think it's just coincidence. I was just going through, then I saw the talking corner, and I said, let me just enter so that I can hear what people are discussing. But thank God, I've just got an interesting topic you're discussing, although I have different view about it, because you people you have been talking.
Quincy, you're breaking up. I can't understand you. Is it me?
I can hear you perfectly
No,
fine,
he
Cracks.
was breaking up as well.
Okay. Oh, there you went. I think he got booted by, I think Podbean's doing what Podbean does.
He must have bad cell phone or Wi-Fi signal.
Okay. But you want to know what's scary? I'm just going to interject a little bit because, like I said, a friend of mine just got back from Africa when Sweden finally opened its borders, and then she was really frightened by the amount of mosquitoes that they found down there. So she's got a friend who is in entomology. If you don't know what entomology is, it's a study of viruses and diseases. And she goes, you want to know what's so sinister about the COVID-19 that is worse than any of the other diseases so far that they've come across? And I go, what's that? She goes, how quickly it fucking adapts. I was like, oh, okay. But wouldn't that be the cold or the flu? She goes, no. For the cold or the flu, it takes between a year to 3 years for it to change, to get used to the vaccine that you get. That's why they tell you every year to get a flu shot. The cold is pretty much, it takes, that's why if your family gets the same cold, it can slightly start to change, but they can't literally reinfect you. It's when you go out and about into society, then you've picked up somebody else's cold that mingles with your cold, and they have new cold babies. Pretty much is what she broke it down to me. She goes, what's so scary about the COVID, it doesn't need a strand for your strand to mingle with another person's strand to come up with a new strand. That's what's scary. She goes, so if you really want to think about it, if the disease ever took a turn for the worst, how many people are already infected? And she goes, think about it. How many people went on all these protests, went out and did everything because it was the symptoms went, AKA, away.
Yeah, I mean,
So she's like a little bit of a doomsdayer kind of thing. So she's packed her attic full of non-perishables, and of course bottled water. She goes, because in 3 to 5 years this thing is going to come back and bite us really hard, and it'll be almost in every country at that point.
yeah, it's a scary thought, and here in the United States, there's many states that are thinking of shutting everything down a second time because cases are increasing, and the media is talking about this, but the one thing they're forgetting to tell the American people is that yeah, it's increasing because as the amount of testing increases, well, so are the amount of cases of positive people going to increase. It kind of goes hand
Yep.
in hand. If you're going to test more, you're going to have more positive results.
Yep.
But it's freaking
that's why
everybody out to where
that's why that's Quincy says that he thinks his network is bad because their network may have been attacked by the COVID-19. It's cute.
it is.
I would have to agree that could be a very strong possibility. If anything, blame it on the COVID. and that goes along with this goes along with my thoughts. I really wondering. I have to step back for a brief moment and wonder what the American government was thinking, and many of the other countries. Because Sweden, we never shut down. We practiced social distancing immediately. The only things that got shut down were public places like the gym. My gym was closed down
Nice.
for a good portion of
Makes
that.
sense.
Because equipment, you can't sanitize equipment enough. You just can't. So you're just going to keep spreading it over and over and over. But at the restaurants and stuff, everything's bathed in chlorine water. So they take health standards much more serious than like a gym. So we were practicing that. I mean, we got to the point where if you order food, you don't order through a phone, you don't call up the place. We have an app here that you go through the app and you tell them, hey, I want this, this, and this from this restaurant, and they bring it. But you can tap a little button on the top of the corner and say whether you want the delivery person to leave the food at the door, or they can actually just talk to you and get a tip from you. Because here in Sweden, we don't really tip, but we are getting slowly more accepting of tipping. It used to be an actual insult if you tipped here in Sweden.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I heard
And here's why. I hear a car alarm. And here's why. If for the people that may not know, it's like if you're going to a restaurant to eat, so most people would assume they're better than the server. The server doesn't get paid enough, not doing, it needs many handouts. And in Sweden, that's actually insulting when you try to give to somebody who doesn't need it, because then you're putting yourself above them and you're looking down on them. So tipping here can actually be considered an insult unless you're at a bar. The bartenders actually, they're performing an art in front of you. Not only are they serving the drinks, but they're also doing it in a flashy fashion to entertain you. So the tip then is warranted. So Sweden is actually starting to get more and more accepting of a tip, but not in general when it comes to food service. So it's just like I said, if you want to give a tip to a driver, that's perfectly fine. And that's why they you have the little button on top of the thing, whether you want to go down and grab your food from them, or if you want them just to leave it at the door. So we had this so long. our numbers and our death rate, because of we figured out that it actually can breed and spread in air filters. For a long time, we had the death toll rate higher than the spreading. I mean, it was just so bad. The recovery rate was so low, and the death rate was so high. And then finally, when we started to get those changed out, and we started sending our doctors to the retirement homes instead of having the old people come to the hospitals, everything started to turn around. And we're still practicing. We're still practicing social distancing. You see the lines in front of the cashiers. Okay, when the customer in front of you says at the cashier, you're standing back at a certain line, and the person behind you is standing at another marked line. And those lines are literally spaced out, measured and spaced out for people to distance themselves. If you try to get up close to the person behind you, the manager or one of the clerks that take the carts, that person that changes out the carts will come and say, "Hey, I'm sorry, but you need to get back to the line." 9 times out of 10 here in Sweden, oh, okay, either I'm sorry or my kid's running around and I got to go get them, kind of thing. And everybody's kind of understanding. Once in a while, you get like, meh. Well, then, sir or ma'am, please go back to the back of the line and wait till the turn. They don't want to go all the way back in the line, so they'll light up. So again, we've been practicing this for the longest time, and our curve has been pretty flat for a while. So you don't see us protesting. Usually we have riots about this time of year. Nah, not this time. People are scared about the diseases and scared about this thing being way worse than what we're seeing now. We're just waiting for the big mutation to hit, our zombie apocalypse, boom, and a lot of people get their wish. That's kind of what some of us are secretly hoping for.
What generally do you guys? What do you guys generally protest? What are the protests out in Sweden usually about?
Almost all protests are violent, and so the military gets called up because then it's no longer a peacetime. Here in Sweden, they cannot deploy police or military during peacetime, so they cannot enforce a martial law when we're not at war. So that's another reason why we couldn't order everybody to shut down, is because we can't enforce it legally. Our parliament, our king has protected the people from the parliament in that regard. I know a lot of people don't want to talk about that. We have a pretty decent king that once in a while slips in and goes, "Nope, you can't do that."
Gotcha. And what is the topic that they generally like to riot or protest against?
In my eyes, it's silly because it's about immigration and how unfair they're treated, but it's not how bad it seems. It's not how bad it's getting twisted in its translation. What it is people born here claiming they're not getting treated fairly, and in some regard that is true. Now here's why. Let me explain before people start losing their minds. We have a huge influx of immigration, asylum seekers from several countries coming at once. And a lot of people want to say, well, it's because the U.S. is starting wars and stuff like that. It's not just the U.S. That's what people are forgetting. It's the militant groups in those countries that are causing a lot of it. And so the people are just to save their families, save their friend, their wife, their children. They're getting up and leaving. And even their husband, their brothers, and mothers. Everybody's getting up and leaving. And so those immigrants get free housing and care. Now, if you're somebody who that's born in Sweden and claims to be an immigrant, in Sweden we can't really discriminate against that. We can't correct you, even though many of our authorities are looking at you silly, because you're a citizen at that point. You're not an immigrant. Your mom and dad are immigrants, not you. But then they want to say, well, we're ill-treated because we're not getting the goods. We're not getting
the free handouts.
Exactly. Their mother and fathers are the ones that take a step back and go, look, I did not raise them to be this way. They're on their own. So when they get arrested or something, they cry to the press, "Oh, we're being oppressed," and that starts up a whole flood. Because what if you are coming from as an asylum seeker, and you're seeing someone of your own belief, of your own color, of your own neighborhood community, being arrested and being oppressed because of, and I put that in quotation marks, oppressed. You take that as face value. You don't go and say, "Oh, you were born here. You're not an immigrant."
Right.
So
Gotcha.
that's part of the problem. The other problem is, if both your parents are immigrants, most likely they've worked their asses off to get where they are, and they have made sure that you did not have to work so hard. So you get the education, you get the handouts and stuff, but when you're being silly with your friends because they're more comfortable in being in that kind of a neighborhood, or more comfortable because that's where they were raised, the employers, the guys hiring are going, "Okay, so you've got all of these credentials, but why are you hanging out with this kind of group? Do you not take what we're doing serious?" So that what they'll do is they don't take them serious. So if you basically get it, as my brother puts it, a clown is a clown, even if they're a doctor. So if you act like a clown, you dress like a clown, you put on the makeup like a clown, nobody's going to take you serious. And so then then it comes back to, again, "Oh, they're oppressed. And it's like, in some regard, because of they've acted like a clown, they've got arrested like a clown, they've put on the makeup like a clown, then they're seen as a clown. Then straighten yourself up, get away from the crowds, go to medical seminars and such like that, and be looked at and be seen to be taken seriously." Now, it's not just doctors. That's just a metaphor to kind of get the point across. I'm talking about good jobs like IT jobs and such like that. That's where the problem is. So what they do is they form little gangs, and then they start running a rap sheet, and then construction companies are basically the only ones that'll hire them, and they don't want to work in construction companies because that's hard work.
Right. Yeah.
And then they'll start screaming, and then somebody is going to take that a step too far, and then what they do is they'll start calling up the medical and emergency personnel, say we've got somebody hurt, and then they start throwing live grenades at them when they show up.
Oh boy. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, there's similar issues like that here in the United States. Right now, it's not polarized because of all the other issues going on. But it's one of those things to where, I view it. I mean, we have a large population that like to take advantage of social services and other handouts that the government gives. I know personally one gal. She has 5 or 6 children, and she loves doing drugs and making babies. And she stays at home. She gets her government check every month for her and her kids. Doesn't utilize the money on the kids, and just sits back. And that's one thing I just can't stand. I agree that public assistance is needed for those that are struggling and doing their best to get back on their feet. But
Absolutely.
when it's getting taken advantage of by thousands of people across the country, that something needs to be done about that.
So you guys don't have a system like we have, and the system we have, I have to agree, it's kind of a socialistic system, but it's also a very democratic system and capitalistic system, which is why it works so well. It's a hot pot of various different types of systems put into one, and it works really good. Here's what it is.
Ours definitely needs a lot of work.
Here, you got to work. You're forced to work. Forced to work or prison, jail. That's literally how it goes. Notice how I got fired, and I had to immediately go down to the Arbetsförmedlingen, which is pretty much an unemployment type of office. And I had to tell them. I had to fill out my sheets. I had to turn all of that in, and then I had to tell them what my future plan is about the school and stuff. And that's why I'm not looking for work at the moment. I have my brother who's going to, and my brother had to vouch for me. He literally had to sign off that he is taking care of me. He had to prove to them he can financially take care of me.
Gotcha. Wow.
So I can actually sit and study to try and get back into school. And not just any school,
Yeah.
it's a trade school for the railroad, but and of course, you know, they almost immediately approve of it. It's not like a lengthy process of where they, you know, have to jump through a lot of hoops. It's nothing like that. But you're just letting the government know that you're not working. Now, say I decided to sit on my hands and not do any of that. Do you know what would happen? I would get a piece of paper. Well, no, they summon you first. I get a summons to come to the Arbeitsvermillion. If I do not go to that summons, they will send police to come escort me. And then I go there. I have to tell them why I'm not looking for work, why this, and that, and the other. And they'll listen to my excuses. Okay, you have 3 months to find work. Here's the different programs that we have. You will sign up for one of these.
Wow.
You don't get a choice.
Pretty, yeah. It's pretty stringent there.
It's but you know, that's just how it is here. It works. It works really well. So you're either going to school to better yourself, or you're going to work. And if you don't, you go to jail, and they'll force you to work, and they give you way less pay than than you would when you're out in the free world.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that need to be changed. One of the things that people talk about here with the system that we have is, people that are on government assistance. That they should. A big thing out there is that they should be drug tested, and if they show positive for doing drugs, that their money.
So you're saying the money gets taken away?
Yeah.
See, and that's a
public-
system.
The assistance stops.
But then what about the legal drugs?
Well, as far as what type, well, depends which state you're from. Like federally, marijuana is illegal, but there are some states that have legalized it. But as far as other, like, are you talking about like over-the-counter drugs?
I'm talking about just over the counter or marijuana.
Or prescription.
Like prescription. Yeah, there's also prescription.
Yeah, I'm talking more or less the illegal drugs. Like cocaine.
But see, here's the
marijuana,
thing. What if you've been hospitalized recently? Would you have to show proof that you've been hospitalized? Because morphine doesn't come out of your system for 30 days, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, there could be ways to satisfy via documentation or whatever. But I think the main point is to try to make it that the drug addicts don't get a free ride and collect taxpayer dollars just so they can go out the next day and go buy more drugs.
Well, see, I would. That sounds like a good system. I prefer mine. You either work or you get. And
Right,
here,
you either
and
work or go to jail.
well, here's why. My taxes, I pay. When I was working, I was paying almost 50%. It was roughly 48% in taxes, and that's before the money that I had to take extra taken out for my pension. And so you're looking at about 55% of my paycheck would be taken out. What's left is what I got. But yeah, it's not bad. Here's why. I can walk into any medical room. They'll charge me about 200 kroner for an ER visit. The medical here is not free, but it's extremely affordable. I heard some ungodly amounts, like $800, I guess, for an ambulance ride in the U.S. It's like that's like 8,000 kroner. 8,000 kroner here in Sweden for medical wise, that would give you almost a heart surgery. So a couple, it's like a couple, more than a couple days in the hospital. And you're looking at like a week and a half in the hospital for that amount of money. So yeah, it's extremely affordable here. Then if you privatize like I do, I have also private insurance. It's even less than that. School systems, our school system is one of the top. So I have to give that to the fact that we all pay a lot of taxes. There's no cutting on the education system. The only thing that we're really worried about is having all the huge influx of immigrants coming in and then having to cover the costs because they're not working, they're not paying the taxes. And the reason why they can't work is because generally they don't speak Swedish when they come here. It's not like they just magically learn Swedish in one day and they're like, oh, we speak Swedish. No. That takes about a year and a half for them to learn Swedish. Swedish is not an easy language to learn. So we're taking care of them. We're taking care of whole families. And that gets expensive quick.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That covers their stay, their food, their life, their living, the clothing. They all get living expenses on top of the, so they're not just trapped in the house, because if you trap somebody in a house, it's a dressed up prison at that point. And we really do try to give people a quality of life here. So yeah, I don't mind paying the extra taxes as long as everybody understands, just work and pay your taxes.
Right. Yeah. No, I hear that. Well, it's and if that works for everybody out there. It's everybody's accustomed to that. People freak out about change, so that's always a big thing. Whenever you try to introduce change.
I noticed that. And it seems not to be an ass. I'm gonna kind of switch my wording here a little bit. It seems like the Americans, and it's just literally the Americans. I'm sorry, that really can't handle. Well, I'm excluding a lot of the countries that violate humanitarian laws. I'm talking about a country that doesn't or tries not to violate human rights as much as possible. Americans really don't like change. I've noticed this. Donald Trump was a huge example. There was we kicked back and we were like, "Wow, these have to be trolls. This cannot be real." And they're like, "Yeah, it's real." Ooh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's.
If you don't,
What's that?
I was gonna say, if you expect to better yourself, then expect change. Understand that it's and change can be painful. Change can be fun. Change is inevitable, as one of my professors called it, and it will always happen. So yeah. So I don't understand. Oh, I hear a doggy. Is that a doggy? Is that a doggo?
Yes, it was. Yeah, I just got home actually, and she's all excited to be home.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to wrap things up because I have an appointment here coming up at 1:00. I appreciate the time on your show today, Cracks.
Oh, you're more welcome to come back on my show again. I had fun talking to you. Come whenever you feel like, or whenever you.
Sounds good. I appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and drop down. You guys have a great rest of your day and have a fabulous weekend. And Eric, I'll see you a little bit later, my friend.
I'll see you later on the show because this is probably one of the greatest shows on Podbean that people need to check out if they're interested in some like good discussions on news and current events and hot topics, as well as having a little bit of fun and playful banter here and there.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
and-
yes, and we encourage you guys, including yourself, to come join us anytime you'd like. Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, cracks. And again, I appreciate the time on your show. It's a great show, and just happy to be a part of it.
Oh, thank you so very much. It was good to have you. And again, always welcome to come back because I love discussing things with you. It would be really fun. But don't forget the 500 party. That's what I'm going to call it. It's the 500 party.
Yes,
I'm gonna break my diet,
Definitely
have
be there
drinks,
with my
and
hot
eat.
sauce.
Right.
Oh, that'll be fun. Get to
All
Yeah,
right,
and-
you guys, you have a great day.
Yep, you
Yes.
too. Have a good one, sweetie.
Well,
You
and
too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
well, and I will also add to cracks that we enjoy having our Lash Wednesday segments, and trying out the new Slightly Against Humanity game, and we're even going to experiment with some Trivia Tuesday, and we're also hoping to get all the bugs worked out to where we can do the video simulcast along with the Podbean audio as well.
You broke up just a little. Well, in my headphones went beep, beep, and then there was a long pause. I'm sorry.
I'll repeat it. Because like we love having fun with also the Lash Wednesday segment. If you're ever to come to the show on Wednesday evenings, and then we also are working on experimenting with the Slightly Against Humanity game, which is an offshoot of Cards Against Humanity, and we're also going to experiment with like a Trivia Tuesday, which I have a real trivia event prior to the show going live, and we're hoping to get the video simulcast, of the audio simulcast up and running. Did you hear
okay.
that?
Yes, I did. That's I was gonna say that sounds like totally fun. I definitely have to be there for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and we even like to do some surprise, like pop-up, like impromptu shows on the weekends as well. So definitely be following the show, and you'll get a notification when it goes live. And I'm really good at sharing the show out on Instagram and Twitter to anybody interested in tuning in, and us working on trying to get more people to come on to Podbean to check out great shows that people are really missing out on.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that for some of your future interview episodes that hopefully I'm successful in helping you get maybe Frankie D from Frankie D's Crib and the Two Dumbasses podcasts to commit to an interview with you sometime.
Oh, absolutely. That actually sounds like a lot of fun.
Because I mean, yeah, because I know you can get the word out there that their podcasts are around, and that you're a big supporter of good quality shows here and good quality people.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
like I said, I also love to find new podcasters. That's one thing. Like after a Ralph show or something, I'll peek on and see who is on, and try to give them the most support as I can. Just because
Absolutely.
Podbean is a really good platform in that regard. A lot of people. I have a lot of complaints about it, but that is one of the few things I cannot complain about it.
You're a very good person, Slightly, and we love having people like you. But I'm definitely going to be on his show later. I mean, I've been a part of his show since day one, and and I really have enjoyed the having that very friendly relationship with him, and we almost become like part of the family. You would have the feeling like we've known each other all along, even though we've never actually met in person. We've only met through here.
See, that's one of the reasons why I love Podbean is because people like you, I would have never I would have never met you. I would never had another friend. I'd be sitting doing art for absolutely nothing and be like, eh.
Yeah.
Speaking of art, oh my god, I keep forgetting Ralph's art piece. I'm such a horror.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting to send him his art, and I keep forgetting to upload the
old man's.
Yes, I those two things I have to do. Because I even got the number. I even got the social number, the security number that says you own this. So basically, a lawyer will pop out of nowhere if somebody tries to use the artwork other than Ralph or myself. So
right. So I'll definitely remember to DM you. After this show is over, for you to not forget about Ralph and to not forget to publish like a podcast that's been mean to be published.
Yeah, no, I could literally beat my head against the table. I've been so busy. Well, I've been distracted for one, been seriously distracted for some reasons, but well, my brother moving in is one of them. And then with the heat and this, at this point, it just sounds like I'm making excuses and I'm just going to quit while I'm ahead kind of thing. Now you're trying to say I'm a decent person. Oh, slightly serious. It's like,
I answered that question already for him. But, I personally like to find and see good in people. And I think, we kind of need more of that in the world, and being able to look past all the flaws and irregularities, if you get where I'm coming from.
Oh, absolutely. And I honestly believe his show is what this platform is missing, because everybody's doing their best to avoid a lot of the tough subjects. So he has bigger kahunas than I do. It's just, I was raised not to insult anybody. And when and like I said, it just took me back a moment because some of the podcasters that were on Churio's show that morning, it was like, I thought you guys were open-minded. I thought you guys would like to hear where I'm coming from. They're like, no. I'm like, okay, never mind. And they took it.
And I was really disappointed in that outcome too. I will agree. And could things have been better? Yes, but I know in life you have to have that kind of experience to see what it's like for others and for yourself.
Thank you. So, like I said, I wasn't trying to troll or anything. I was just literally trying to ask questions, and it was just like a flip of a switch, like ding. I was like, I was ready to start passing out Snicker bars to everybody because I was like, holy crap, is this what you guys need right now? I was like, yep, no. Right. I just threw it and said, you know what? No, if you're that, in my eyes, that was not respectful. And I was like, yep, I'm just so. And here's what I want to say: under any circumstance, I would never let it get that far on my show. Not a single way. I don't care what set of line somebody's beliefs are, or what they were taught. As like I said, I was taught one thing, probably because I'm not from the U.S. Sorry, it's just how it goes. And when I say something like this is how things were taught to me, this is the history that was taught to me, that I understand that maybe the timing was wrong. I get that. But then let me finish my sentences. Don't start quoting things and start taking things out of context.
Just don't be cherry picking.
That's exactly what had happened. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, we're done. Were you there that morning? Because I don't remember.
I was there for a time, but then when some people started, giving you labels, which I'm not a big fan of labeling people, and then them throwing derogatory terms and insults at you, that kind of did it for me, to the point that it kind of like drains my energy.
Yep. I understand that. So yeah, that was a learning experience for mine. That's how I took it. I took it as a learning experience. Now I know who where
and I don't.
Like, yep.
I don't mind acknowledging that I'm a gay conservative. But I used to vote for Democrat nominees for political offices. But about a decade ago, you could kind of call it either your blue pill, red pill moment, or an epiphany of sorts. That it's like I came to a realization that when I was voting for Democratic candidates, it's like I just feel like I didn't abandon them; they had abandoned me, and I'm an unregistered independent in terms of voting. Because I could swing either way, and it's like I've mostly voted for Republicans ever since. Because I come from a background where I believe in common sense and people being able to speak their truths as most lovingly and honestly as they possibly can, as well as speaking my own truth. And some people might think that's so easy, but it's not easy.
I have to completely agree with you on that. About the Democratic, I can't agree with that because I don't have that here. I have several different types of groups to vote from.
but that's speaking from my personal experience there because granted I don't because I've never lived in Sweden, so I mean I couldn't speak on whether that is a electable system or not. Much like here in America, you couldn't speak on that either without experiencing it.
Well, here, here we like to joke and say we do have freedom of speech here. We don't. If those in charge don't like what you're saying, they will remove you. It is simple as that. There is no constitution to protect us to say we have a king. If the king likes his people and he protects us, the parliament has to take a step back. But in any other circumstance, no. And it will take a lot for a king to move. I'm just going to say that much. God would have to come down. The planets would have to align. Literally, there would have to be proof of an afterlife at that point for him to even lift a finger. And to put that in perspective, that is why our radio stations and our TVs have a different tax. So we get taxed on those. We get so the political parties cannot pay them. Right. Now, do they lean? Oh, absolutely. But they're very open about their leaning. They're not trying to hide it whatsoever. Why? Because they know they will never get demonetized because they have the quote unquote wrong party. Because they receive money from the government through the tax of the people. So we do not have the political ads or the political parties trying to divide everybody just to get those votes. And on top of that, our politicians actually have to come out to public. They actually have to come out and see us in large groups, small groups, medium-sized groups. It doesn't matter what type of group. They have to come out and see us. And that's why certain groups will have a heightened police force because, they are racist. We do have to break this down, I want to give you guys a little bit of a mindset about how Sweden is. We have several, and I mean several voting groups, several parties. We have a Green Party, which is an environmental group. We have a feminist party. We have a feminist extremist party. We have the Social Democrats. We have the Swedish Democrats. Now, Swedish and social are two different sides. You could say the Swedish Democrats are a little more extreme Republican, if that would be a good way to describe them, while the Social Democrats are socialists. They're literally socialist with some democratic belief, meaning voting, taxes, job-wise. So they do believe in capitalism. But there is a socialist party that actually holds a few seats. So it breaks it down this way. We have a Nazi group. They have some political power. How do they get voted? They gained enough votes and won a couple seats. Do they have a majority of seats? No, but their votes still count because each seat counts. So if there's like a tie or whatever, those guys are the breakers. And you don't want the neo-Nazi party to be breaking any type of ties because then, parties are going to start trying to buy them and try to influence them the best way they can. And like I said, that is like literally the worst case scenario. And so the other parties know this. They really do try to work together sometimes to try and avoid that scenario. And is that unfair? Yes, but that's an unfair that I could actually get behind. To be honest, I don't like neo-Nazis. There's nothing good that comes from them. But these neo-Nazis don't go after the Jews. These neo-Nazis go after anybody with a different skin color. That's where they're dangerous. They're also charismatic, which makes them extremely dangerous. So a lot of us Swedes are hoping like hell you guys don't have a charismatic group who can win people over without having them really think through with the actions and then gain a political power. we're scared of.
We've seen that at different times in history, of course, which, don't know whether I would have to do a little more research to see if we've definitely had it here in America at one point or another, but we've definitely seen it in other countries for sure.
Yeah. Oh, does Sweden go by writings for parliamentary seats or by representative popular vote? It depends. Parliamentary seats are also can be considered county seats. So, okay, this is why we say we can vote for county. Those with a residential card can vote for county, but they cannot vote for those in charge of the country. I would consider that parliamentary. They can't vote for the parliamentary. But people vote for the parliamentary seats of who the most popular vote get. The most popular vote gets the certain amount of seats. So basically, if this, like the Swedish Democrats, if they're in charge of, say, my city, Gävle, but the Social Democrats are in charge of, say, Stockholm, the population is different. So yes, it kind of goes both, I guess, because if we have a popular vote here in Sweden or in Gävle for the Swedish Democrats, well, the Swedish Democrats would have those parliament seats reserved for our area. So, and then if they gain more popularity from the surrounding counties, then they would get those seats for those surrounding counties. Whereas, and that goes for so for a neo-Nazi group to gain any kind of political power, they've had to have at least one or two counties to get those votes. If that makes sense. It's a little bit different than what most people are used to, or I should say what Americans are used to. Ask somebody from the UK, they'll understand it better.
Right. Well, like here in America, many people look at us as a democracy, but I think that right there would be a big misconception there. We are what you call a constitutional republic, which is basically a representative form of democracy, because we are not a direct democracy by any means. Because the way, when our country was founded, the founders intended for like the House of Representatives to be elected via the popular vote, and prior to the passage of the 17th Amendment in 1913, state legislators and state governors would appoint U.S. senators, and the president was elected via the Electoral College. And the way the Electoral College is set up is whoever wins the popular vote in each of the states gets all those like committed voters, except for Maine and Nebraska, which go by the congressional district method versus the winner-take-all method. And there have granted been times in our history where, a presidential candidate won the presidency but lost the popular vote, and that is to be expected. But I know there's been a big debate about whether the Electoral College should stay or go, and there's even debates of whether, it's time to repeal the 17th Amendment, just go back to state legislators and state governors appointing our U.S. senators the way our founders intended. But I know that's a story for another episode.
Oh, absolutely. But my thing is, didn't your founding fathers, they didn't support, what was it?
They did not believe.
Career politicians, the people.
They didn't. They never intended us to have a professional political class either. And then I would definitely be in support of a constitutional amendment for congressional term limits. But in order to get a new constitutional amendment added, you've got to have a 51% majority in the House to ratify it, a 67% majority in the U.S. Senate to ratify it, meaning given their seal of approval, and then 75% of the U.S. states, which is 38 of the 50 U.S. states, have to say yes to it in order for the Constitution to be ratified.
Okay. No, that would take a lot, and I really don't see. No offense, but I don't.
Well, it's an uphill battle. You're right.
I don't see either side giving up the power.
Well, I mean, but that is an unfortunate truth, of course. that people have to be aware of. And then another misconception about like free speech is really, if you look at like the First Amendment, which is our right to free speech here in America, that your right to free speech is basically designed to protect you from a tyrannical, oppressive government. But when it comes to private business and whatnot, it's like the Constitution doesn't apply.
Wow. Just wow.
Well, I know he was slightly raised the question: would you vote yourself out of a job? I mean,
Yeah.
well, I I'm sorry if I went silent for a minute. I had a phone call come in, but it was a friend. I would tell him I'll call him back.
Oh no, not a problem. Not a problem.
But-
You did hear my phone go off, right?
Yes,
When that happened,
right.
you don't have to apologize for that.
But it's like I think slightly does raise an interesting question. Like I think a lot of politicians would not agree to voting themselves out of a job. And then there are a lot of people who have been there for too long, but they're not only getting like drawing like a congressional salary and congressional retirement, but they're getting money from lobbyists. In terms of like passing legislation, regardless of how popular or unpopular it may be.
No, that's something that I think every country has a problem with, is lobbying. I think that is literally I think that's one of the sole reasons that almost every powerful country, or every powerful government, let me replace that one, has issues with. If they're not what is the term when you have a king or queen? What is that term?
Monarchy.
Monarchy. If you don't have a monarchy, it's the lobbying, because they're going to use other means and money to sway your to sway your vote and to their favor. It's really funny. I know a lot of people want to pick on Russia a lot, but have you seen the president just go after those people?
I mean, I haven't paid too much attention to that lately, but I get where you're coming from, though.
Dude, he literally is in the middle of a board meeting. He goes, "So this is what you have for me? This is how you're handling it. You guys have been on the job for a year, and this is all you've got done. And yet you spent all of this money. Where is it? Cough it up right now. Where is it?"
Right.
It's just like, damn. Oh my gosh. Wow, he I'm sorry, but that's just funny. For somebody, as a citizen who pays high taxes, and of course, there's a reason why I pay high taxes. But for a citizen who does pay high taxes, I know Russia they pay quite a bit of tax as well. That's another thing that most people don't understand. And so when things don't get done over there, it's usually because of corruption.
Yeah.
And just to literally see him go after people, it's like like your dad talking to a kid, or a dad talking to a kid, and the kid has done everything wrong, and he's just going verbally into him. That's kind of how he talks to these people. I was laughing so hard. So if you're having a bad day, go check out those videos.
Right.
Hi, Vinny. How's it going?
Welcome to the show, Vinny. Glad you could be here.
But yeah, if you're, it's hilarious to watch a man who used to be in the KGB speaking down to another person, another adult male, like a child. It does make your day. Connecting Vinny to the call. Hello, Vinny. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you all?
I'm hot.
I'm having a fantastic Friday.
Other than that, I'm having a pretty good Friday. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. So, where are you from, Miss Talking Corner?
Sweden.
Yep.
Okay.
And
So,
Eric
what are you
is-
guys talking about?
I was gonna say, and Eric's from Georgia.
Yeah, from the Southeast United States. In case you missed it, Cracks just wrapped up an interview with Slightly Serious, and now me and her are basically right now just shooting the shit, in other words. But we're glad you could join us for today, Vinny.
Okay, so so it's like the podcast is gonna be over right now. Is this what you mean?
The podcast
In
interview.
about 10 minutes.
Well, the
The
interview.
podcast
Mhm.
Yeah.
interview is already.
Well, the interview
Okay, sorry.
that
We're talking.
sorry, don't mean to be interrupting, but but the interview, of course, like with Slightly Serious, will be published along with like her previous interview with the old man, and I think you've already published John DeVito, right?
Yes, I've published John DeVito already. That was an actually excellent interview. I love that interview. Very outspoken, especially against bullying. I love it. And then the old man. I had such a great time with the old man on the Old Man Show when he came to visit this last Friday. Unfortunately, I totally spaced it, and as soon as I get off here, Eric's gonna remind me if I don't remember to post to post the post that interview.
Yeah, and to
And then I
send
have to go
Ralph his
through
thing.
audio.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Thank you. I almost yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. But
I told you I'm scattered today. I was scattered all week. The
Yeah.
last couple of weeks, please.
I mean, and
Oh,
but hopefully, you know, we will try our very best to try to get Frankie D from the Frankie D's Crib Show and the Two Dumbasses podcast, you know, on with you very soon.
I have
Yeah,
no
no, I'm-
idea what you guys are talking about.
we're talking about other podcasters coming in for their interview because this is Have a Drink with Me Friday, where I usually interview a podcaster from Podbean, exclusively from Podbean, for the
So
that
it's
for that
like
1 hour and a half.
okay, so it's like you both interview like the person whoever wants to be interviewed.
Oh yes.
No,
Yeah, something like that.
I was gonna say something like that. Eric comes on. He's a special guest of mine. He's kind of. I say you're filling in for Ahmad because Ahmad usually is where you're sitting, but the poor kid has a lot of stressful studying going on, and I have to give him a
Bless his
lot
heart.
of. Yeah, he's really working hard on passing his national exams, and.
Who?
believe-
Your son? Your son?
No,
He's a friend.
Ahmad. He's a friend.
Okay.
And where does he live, if you don't mind me asking?
He lives in Iran.
He lives in Iran. You know, we've got a couple of friends who live in Iran that are frequents on the Podbean circuit.
Well,
Well, okay, just come up with a topic we can discuss about right now. I'm just bored.
are you bored? Well, right now we were talking about wrapping up because the show's about to end in about 8 minutes from now.
You know, and then
Okay.
we're also having like the Pod God Podathons coming up and starting in about under 2 hours, like with Sinister Breed and Yanakai and Ace. So definitely be on the lookout for those if you're interested.
I'm sorry. Can you please repeat what you said? It's like you spoke too fast. to me.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Starting at 6 p.m. Eastern in under 2 hours, we will have like a podathon with Sinister Breed and followed by Yanni Kai and followed by Ace if you're interested in checking those out.
Okay, I'll come at 6 p.m. But like I also said, like yeah, I said like at 7, right? I told you
Yes,
guys
si-
that
6
at 7
p.m.
a.m. I'll be coming.
6 p.m. Eastern.
Oh.
Well, it's 4:08 now,
Yeah.
so in under 2 hours. If
Yeah, for me it's gonna be 7 for me at 6:30. You said right about Slightly Serious.
he'll be on in
Said
5
about the
hours.
podcast.
So
Yeah, that's what I'm
that's
talking about.
but you should get a notification if you're following his show.
Yeah, followed him. Yeah, and also like about the 6 p.m. I don't know like
In-
what
in
time
2
is it
hours.
gonna be for me for that. It's gonna be 3:30 for me at 2 hours.
Yes. But we're glad you showed up and got to chat with us.
I really want to enjoy the whole podcast, really want to, but I'm not actually getting one. Like all of the podcasts here are related to religions and
Yeah, I've
I
seen
don't know, like
those.
spirituality. Yeah,
No, that's
like
kind of no,
yeah.
it's not
Yeah,
fun.
I have no idea what they speak. I have no idea. I just see like people like typing amen and like like I don't know. I don't know like what the podcaster speaks actually.
Hmm.
He keeps speaking, I don't know. I know that it might be related to like the mythological stuff or like the myths or you can say the verses
Right.
or like the mythological facts related to the Jesus and all, right?
Oh.
I don't know. I'm not religious, and I don't go to those
So do
shows.
you,
So
so it's like you're in okay.
here's the thing.
So
Here's the thing. I try to make it a practice not to talk about other people's podcasts unless they're here in the room.
Oh.
no, just yeah, I was just speaking that this like Podbean app is really majorly covered with the podcasts that have like religion and religion as the filters, you can say.
And I get that, but that's not what my podcast is about. My podcast is very kind of laid back. Unfortunately, here's an announcement. I forgot to tell everybody. I should have told everybody at the beginning of the podcast or beginning of the live cast. I will not be on tomorrow. Tomorrow there will be there will be no live with cracks tomorrow, and here's why. I have to work and set up my air conditioning. I really need it, so I'm starting tomorrow morning. If I do not get it fixed, there will be no podcast. If I do get it fixed before tomorrow night, then I will be able to go on Instagram. It'll be live with cracks on Instagram again.
Uh-huh.
But
Well,
for
Eric,
right now,
can you?
I was going to say, but for right
Okay.
now, I'm not going to have a Saturday night live with cracks. Not this week because I want to make sure I get my air conditioning fixed.
So, like, if you're like podcasting day after tomorrow, can you tell me about the time you'll be podcasting? Hello.
I'm still here. I'm going to be bouncing around like the Podbean circuit, like onto other shows, and then I'll still be on Slightly Serious in about 5.5 hours from now.
Eric, what's the name of the podcast which is gonna be in the next 2 hours, according to
They are look for the names. Sinister Breed. I'm going to type it in the comments. You know, Yanakai and Ace.
Sinister Breed, Yana Cully, and Ace. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so it's like it's gonna be like so it's like you're gonna be discussing about some general stuff or something like that?
These are Pod God remembrances. You know.
Sinister Breed. Okay, fine. So, Miss Talking Corner, if you're gonna, are you gonna be able to podcast day after tomorrow?
No, actually, what I podcast is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then I do a live with cracks on Instagram on Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. So, on Monday.
I'll go ahead and plug your
what
Instagram
time
if you
do
don't mind,
podcast
Cracks.
at?
Go for it, Eric. Thank you very, very much.
That's her
Okay,
Instagram
what
handle.
time are you gonna be? Okay, so what time are you gonna be podcasting on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, yo? In
It's
the Podbean?
Stockholm. Usually it's 9:00 Stockholm time.
9 o'clock. What?
Stockholm time.
9 p.m. in the evening.
Stockholm. Can you spell that word?
9:00 in the
Can you
evening.
spell that?
Stockholm. Stockholm. It's the capital of Sweden.
Capital Sweden.
There you go.
Like, what's the name of the time zone? EST, CST.
It's UTC, but it's I can't remember. It's +1 or +2. Hold on.
ETC. I'm done. Stockholm. Okay.
Well, the 3 p.m. Eastern for the United States. That hopefully that might help you.
Wait a minute. I'm just trying. So Stockholm. Okay.
Here you go. There you go.
It's
There's
gonna be
a
12:30 for me. Okay.
Um,
3 p.m. Eastern.
well, I'm getting about ready to jump off here soon. It was great hanging out with you, Cracks.
Thank you, sweetie. It was good to have you again. Always, Eric. Yeah, the show would not be where it is without you. So just keep that in mind. And I really,
Well,
really
talking,
appreciate
I'll
it.
come.
And I
I'll
can't
really
wait.
come on your podcast.
Yeah, you have a very good weekend, Cracks. Love you and God bless.
Love you too,
And
Eric.
talking, I also want to say that I'll come on your podcast and I'll enjoy. I know. Hello.
I'm listening, but I
Yeah,
was trying
that's
to
what
tell.
I'm saying.
But here's the thing. Hold on. Here's the thing. I was trying to tell Eric that I was hoping that he enjoys the package. And again, good night, Eric. I hope you have a great night, and I hope to see you around Podbean for a little bit. I got some stuff. Robert, hey, long time no see. It's good to see you. Unfortunately, I'm wrapping things up as we're speaking. Yeah, no, like I said,
Yeah,
my
come.
nieces. Hold on, Vinny. My nieces had packed a package for you, Eric and Robert. Again, hey, how's everything in Robert? Before I close, how is everything in Canada? No, Vinny, go ahead. Sorry about that, but when listeners come
No
in, I have
worries.
to.
I said that I'll come on your podcast on the next on like the Friday. You said, I don't know, like it's
Just hit the
Monday,
follow
right?
button.
Yeah, I've done that, and
Okay, good.
like there'll be just a problem if I don't understand. I may ask again and again, like, what are you guys talking and all. So please,
Yeah,
it's
no
just because
problem.
of the it's just because of the accents or like the way you guys speak English. It's too fast for me. So please try to understand that.
I can understand. Things are awesome in Canada. Call Vince. Almost done. Research, right? It's never been done. Yeah, it's Friday. So I'm going to get drunk. Hey, Robert, since I can't drink due to medical reasons, can you have a few for me? Toss one up and say this one's for you. Also, Robert, do you have an IG, an Instagram? If you do, add me.
So it's like this guy is a researcher, I feel. This Robert.
Oh, this Robert has been a long time listener of mine, as many as the other people in the room.
Okay, it's like no, he said like almost. I have no idea. Like call win is what does it mean? Canada things are awesome in Canada. Call wins almost done. Research, right? Okay, I don't know what he means by almost done research time. It's never been done. I guess he's a researcher. I feel.
Sure, why not? My puff went up while I'm at it. Yeah, we can't do that here in Sweden, so go ahead and do that one for me as well. I appreciate that, Robert. But anyways, I'm going to hang you up. I'm going to boot you off because I'm going to close things up. I appreciate it. So thank you for calling in.
Okay.
It was good to have you. And hopefully you'll get my notification next time. Take care. Everybody, thank you for coming. Give Eric a big round of applause. That was for you, Eric. It's good to see you. Slightly Serious, thank you again for coming on. And again, I have to go visit your show more often, but you're on when I am sleeping. Mr. Coley, thank you for being here, and thank you for lasting the entire session. Green Lantern 212, it's good to see you again. Thank you for sharing the show. I saw all of those shares. I did not ignore you, I promise. So I just wanted to say thank you now before I forget. And Chloe, welcome to the Talking Corner. It's good to see you. I hope you had a great time, guys. I would not be here if it wasn't for you. Each and every one of you I love and cherish. So take care. Hopefully I'll see you at PodGod's Memorial. So again, take care. Bye-bye. Hey,